Good morning. It's a beautiful Friday morning and we're back once again with a fresh edition of Breakfast News. You're watching DD India. I'm Preeti. With me is Nancy. In the next 1 hour, we'll get you everything that's making it to the headlines. We'll get you national headlines. We'll get you international updates from the world of sports, from business. We'll also get you a web review. Everything a packed 1 hour ahead to make sure that your tea or coffee right in the morning tastes even better.
Absolutely. We'll get you a quick dose of what's making it to the headlines across the nation, world, sports and business update. There's a lot making it to the headlines this morning. Let's scan through all of that in the next 1 hour. But first, a look at the headlines.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with beneficiaries and vaccinators of COVID vaccination drive in Varanasi via video conferencing today. Participants will share their first-hand experience of vaccination. Over 10 lakh people vaccinated so far across the nation.
The government continues its Vaccine Maitri outreach as COVID vaccines reach various neighbouring countries. Underlining India's commitment, Prime Minister Modi says the vaccines made in India will contribute to global efforts to contain the pandemic.
Government and agitating farmer unions to hold next round of talks today. Farmer unions reject government's offer to suspend implementation of 3 farm laws for 12 to 18 months. Supreme Court appointed committee met 10 farmer representatives from 8 states via video conferencing yesterday.
Prime Minister Modi to address the 18th convocation of Tezpur University in Assam today through video conferencing. The Prime Minister calls it a wonderful opportunity to interact with the bright youngsters from Assam and the Northeast.
Centre's Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme completes 6 years today. Launched by Prime Minister Modi in 2015, it is a comprehensive program to address the declining child sex ratio and related issues of women empowerment. Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, a small deposit scheme for girl child, also completes 6 years today.
At least 10 people feared dead in a dynamite blast at a railway crusher site in Karnataka's Shivamogga district. Prime Minister Modi expresses condolences to the bereaved families.
IFFI pays tributes to many cinema greats. Renowned actor Soumitra Chatterjee and lyricist Rahat Indori remembered for their contribution to the world of cinema.
In international updates, US President Joe Biden seeks 5-year extension of the New START arms treaty with Russia. The treaty limits the deployment of strategic nuclear warheads by the two nations and is due to expire on the 5th of February. Well, those were the headlines. Let's now take a look at the news in detail.
Yes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today interact with beneficiaries and vaccinators of COVID-19 vaccination drive in Varanasi via video conferencing. The participants in the interaction will share their first-hand experience of vaccination. The interaction follows continuous dialogue and discussion by Prime Minister with scientists, political leaders, officials and other stakeholders to proactively ensure smooth conduct of the world's largest vaccination drive.
Now, India has crossed a significant milestone on Thursday. As per the latest data released by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, over 10 lakh health workers and frontline workers have been vaccinated across the nation so far. A total of 10,40,014 beneficiaries have been vaccinated in over 18,000 sessions held nationwide since 16th of January.
All right, we go across to our correspondent Arun to get us more on that. Arun, the Prime Minister will today interact with beneficiaries and vaccinators of COVID-19 vaccination drive via video conferencing in Varanasi. Now, let us know more details about the program ahead. And also, when we talk of the fight against COVID-19, we know after the vaccination rollout, we are on a very decisive stage in the fight. Put all this together, tell us, speak more about it. Where are we standing?
Good morning, Preeti and Nancy and all our viewers. Well, it's again an important day because Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to interact with the beneficiaries and, of course, the vaccinators of his constituency in Varanasi. Now, we know this fact that on 16th of January, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched this world's largest vaccination drive. And as of now, till yesterday, we know this fact that close to 1 million people have been vaccinated all across the country. There are close to 2 lakh, more than 2 lakh vaccinators all across the country, those who are playing an important role as far as vaccination drive is concerned. Yesterday only, Government of India has launched a massive IEC program. That means information, education, communication. That means creating awareness as far as, COVID vaccination drive is concerned. We know this fact that there are certain section of people in society that are trying to create, misinformation as far as vaccination drive is concerned for their personal political gains. And the idea of the government is to create those misinformation by creating awareness program. So when Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts, with the beneficiaries of his constituency, it is also the message to the various member of parliaments of our country that they should also interact with the beneficiaries, that they should also try to create awareness in their respective constituency. That's number one. Number two is that when all across the world, there are various countries who are approaching India for the vaccine doses. For example, Brazil, various BIMSTEC countries, BIMSTEC neighboring countries, they're asking India for the vaccines the Made in India vaccine that India has developed so far. So these two Made in India vaccine, that is the Covishield and Covaxin, are being looked for by various other countries as well. But there are certain sections, again, in our country that are trying to create misinformation. So the idea of the government is how can awareness be created, at every level.
Sure.
And that's the reason why Prime Minister Narendra Modi is interacting with these beneficiaries of Varanasi today, in this virtual event, Preeti.
Okay. All right, Arun, in fact, also importantly, India is not just, helping itself or serving itself really by, vaccinating its citizens and people here, but also, in fact, extending assistance, all the medical help required for other countries as well, in a policy of taking neighborhood first policy, in fact, also serving all the nations in fighting this, in this pandemic together and taking it as a challenge upon itself to helping the nations.
Absolutely, Nancy. We know this fact that even during the COVID pandemic time, India was the first country who helped out its neighbor, and not only the neighbor countries, but also other countries. India supplied hydroxychloroquine, medicine to more than 150 countries. It also supplied, various healthcare equipment and services to various other countries. So the idea is that how after this COVID pandemic, when the vaccine is in place, how can India play an important role or play a role as a global leader, whereby it is supplying the vaccine to other countries as well. That means Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. So that's the basic motto of the government. So in that context, we know this fact that India is, helping Brazil, Nepal, Bhutan, yes, Bangladesh, other BIMSTEC countries as well. Now, India also has an experience as far as the mass vaccination drive as well. Be it the diseases like smallpox and polio, whereby the mass immunization programs were run so that these diseases can be eradicated from our country. Mission Indradhanush were run by the government, whereby it ensures that 12 diseases can be eradicated from women and children by mass immunization program. So the idea is that when world is looking forward from India as far as the vaccines are concerned, there is hesitancy and of course there is some misinformation in certain section of a society that needs to be removed, and awareness is the only thing. And we have seen that various influencers in our country, various YouTubers, influencers, various television and film personalities, they're also trying to create awareness at every level, and that's the reason why Prime Minister Narendra Modi is again trying to create awareness as far as this vaccination drive is concerned, whereby in first phase close to 3 crore people, that means the 1 crore medical practitioners and medical professionals, and 2 crore frontline workers will be vaccinated.
Okay.
All right, Arun, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent, Arun, talking more about the vaccination drive and also the program wherein the Prime Minister will be interacting with beneficiaries and vaccinators today in Varanasi through video conferencing. We'll keep you updated. Let's get to more on the vaccination diplomacy also, which India is conducting. As we know, India is not just serving itself, but also its immediate and extended neighborhood in combating the COVID-19 pandemic. The government of India is forging ahead with vaccine diplomacy after helping nations with drugs, ventilators and testing kits to diagnose COVID-19. India has dispatched vaccines to Bhutan, Maldives, Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar and Seychelles, and soon it will be sending vaccine consignments to Afghanistan, Sri Lanka and Mauritius as well. Modi government has always emphasized on neighbor-first policy ever since it took office in 2014. Taking its vaccine diplomacy forward, India is making the COVID vaccines available to its neighbors in need. India is not only fighting the pandemic on the home front, it is also extending help to other nations in this hour of crisis. India has sent consignments of Covishield vaccine to Bangladesh and Nepal on Thursday, which will further strengthen the fight against COVID-19 in these countries. India has sent 10 lakh vaccine doses to Nepal and 20 lakh medicine doses to Bangladesh. The Nepal consignment has already landed in Kathmandu. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar tweeted, "Nepal receives Indian vaccines, putting neighbors first, putting people first." Dr. S. Jaishankar also tweeted about the vaccine reaching Bangladesh. Touchdown in Dhaka, Vaccine Maitri reaffirms the highest priority accorded by India to relations with Bangladesh. The government has confirmed that it will send more consignments to other countries in need as well.
हमारी वैक्सीन का इस्तेमाल ब्राज़ील, इंग्लैंड, साउथ अफ्रीका जैसे देशों में वहाँ के लोगों को देकर किया जा रहा है। दुनिया के बहुत सारे देश, विशेषकर पड़ोसी देश, उनको हमारे देश की वैक्सीन जो है उपलब्ध कराई जा रही है। दुनिया के बहुत सारे देशों की डिमांड है कि वैक्सीन भारत की हमें मिलनी चाहिए।
The pandemic had brought the world to its knees. Having put up a brave fight against the pandemic, India had received ample requests for its COVID vaccine from many countries. Paying heed to these calls, India began sending COVID vaccines to Bhutan, Maldives, Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar and Seychelles from 20th of January. Regulatory approval for dispatching consignments to Afghanistan, Sri Lanka and Mauritius is awaited. Keeping in mind the domestic requirements of phased rollout, India will continue to supply COVID vaccines in a phased manner over the coming weeks and months. It will be ensured that domestic manufacturers have sufficient stock available to meet domestic requirements as well while supplying abroad to other nations. DD India.
Now, after receiving the COVID-19 vaccines, the Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli thanked Prime Minister Modi for granting 1 million doses of the vaccine to Nepal. In his reply, the Prime Minister tweeted, I quote, "India remains committed to assist the people of Nepal in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. The vaccines being made in India will also contribute to the global efforts to contain the pandemic," unquote.
Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the gift of 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine to Bangladesh. Addressing a conference in Dhaka, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina expressed hope that the vaccines purchased from India will also arrive by January 25th and 26th. Earlier, High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, Vikram Doraiswamy, handed over 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine gift to Bangladesh Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen and Health Minister Zahid Malik in a function held in Dhaka on Thursday. Speaking on the occasion, High Commissioner Vikram Doraiswamy said that the gift was part of country's neighbourhood first policy, under which India accords high priority to its relationship with Bangladesh. He said that the gift of 2 million doses of Covishield is among the biggest such dispatches by India to any of the neighbouring countries. Vikram Doraiswamy also said that in line with the discussions held during the virtual summit between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina, India has delivered the vaccines within a week of the vaccine rollout in India.
Now, the government of India has unveiled an awareness drive to educate the beneficiaries of COVID-19 vaccination drive about the safety of COVID vaccines being administered in the country. Posters to allay vaccine-related doubts in some sections were released by the Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan. The posters will also be sent across to the states in their local languages so that the information dissemination can take place effectively.
World's largest immunization exercise against COVID-19 was launched on 16th January. In the initial phase, the country is vaccinating frontline workers and medical professionals. However, the target numbers are not being realized. The main reason is hesitation in getting the jab. While more than 8 lakh workers have been vaccinated as on 21st January, misinformation and vaccine hesitancy are being considered as the reason for lower turnout rate. Considering the vaccine hesitation among the citizens, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan launched an information and education and communication campaign to fight the misinformation. The campaign aims at creating awareness on adverse effects following inoculation through a series of posters.
हमारी सरकार ने बहुत सारे कैंपेन के लिए ये कुछ पोस्टर्स डेवलप किए हैं जो सारे देश की सभी सरकारों को दिए जाएंगे। बड़े बड़े देश के डॉक्टरों ने वैक्सीन ली और उसके तुरंत बाद जाकर अपना काम करना शुरू कर दिया बिना किसी साइड इफेक्ट के। ये अपने आप में इस बात को प्रमाणित और पुष्टि करता है कि ये वैक्सीन पूरी तरह से सेफ और इफेक्टिव हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also interact with beneficiaries and vaccinators of COVID vaccination drive in Varanasi on Friday via video conferencing. The participants in the interaction will share their first-hand experience of vaccination following a continuous dialogue by the Prime Minister with scientists, political leaders, officials and other stakeholders to ensure smooth conduct of world's largest vaccination drive. Union Health Minister further tried to allay any apprehensions about the vaccines.
वैक्सीन पूरी तरह से सेफ है और इफेक्टिव है और जो इसके साथ जो भी जिनको सो कॉल्ड हम एडवर्स इवेंट कह रहे हैं, जिनको साइड इफ़ेक्ट कह रहे हैं कि कोई इतने कहीं पर 10 हो गए, कहीं 5 हो गए, कहीं 2 हो गए, कहीं 4 हो गए, वो साधारण ऐसी चीजें हैं जो शायद किसी भी वैक्सीनेशन में नॉर्मली होती हैं।
The posters to address the emerging issue of vaccine hesitancy will be sent across the states in respective local languages. Few cases have come to the fore related with minor AFI following inoculation, but no adverse or serious effect has been recorded so far. On the other hand, the mass vaccination drive along with awareness campaign across the country is leading to rising daily recoveries and declining new cases of COVID-19.
राजस्थान में उदयपुर में एक व्यक्ति को गीतांजलि मेडिकल कॉलेज एवं अस्पताल उदयपुर राजस्थान में भर्ती कराया गया है, जिन्हें 16 जनवरी को टीका लगाया गया था और उनको इंट्राक्रेनियल हेमरेज के कारण 20 तारीख से अस्पताल में भर्ती कराया गया। यह प्रकरण वैक्सीनेशन से संबंधित नहीं है और आज किसी मृत्यु की सूचना प्राप्त नहीं हुई है।
India's active cases stand at 1,92,308. 19,965 cases have been recovered in the last 24 hours. The total recovered cases stands at 1,265,706 with a recovery rate of 96.75%. With launching an IEC drive to augment the mammoth inoculation exercise, the government is leaving no stone unturned in its bid to make India COVID-free. With inputs from Narendra Singh, TT India.
The government and agitating farmer unions will hold another round of talks today. Farmer unions have earlier rejected the government's offer to suspend implementation of the farm laws for 12 to 18 months. Meanwhile, Supreme Court appointed committee on Thursday met 10 farmer representatives from 8 states via video conferencing to take their feedback on the 3 farm laws.
While the farmers are agitating on the borders of Delhi against the 3 new farm reform laws, the Supreme Court appointed committee met in Delhi and solicited views of farmers on Thursday, while all eyes are on the next round of meeting between the farmers and the government, which is to be held on Friday. The committee set up by the Supreme Court met on Thursday with 3 members, Anil Ghanwat, Ashok Gulati and Pramod Joshi in attendance. 10 farmer representatives from 8 states put up their views before the committee via video conferencing. Some of the farmer leaders came in person to register their views. Many of the farmers expressed outright support for the farm laws.
उन्होंने हमें आमंत्रित किया था, हमने अपनी बात उनके सामने रखी। मंडियों पर एकाधिकार खत्म होना चाहिए कुछ लोगों का, किसानों को एक व्यापक मार्केट मिलना चाहिए, इसके हम पक्ष में रहे हैं, तो वो अगर मिलता है तो ये एक अच्छी बात है।
Meanwhile, before the next round of talks with Centre that will be held on Friday, the farmers have rejected the latest offer of the government. On Wednesday, during the meeting with farmers, Centre had offered to suspend the 3 farm reform laws for a period of 12 to 18 months. Meanwhile, the talks between the farmers and Delhi police on the tractor rally on 26th January also took place. So far, the farmers are adamant on the tractor march and further talks are being scheduled to break the deadlock. With inputs from O.P. Yadav in New Delhi, DD India.
Prime Minister Modi will today address the 18th convocation of Tezpur University in Assam through video conferencing, and the event will witness the conferring of degrees and diplomas upon 1,218 students who passed out in 2020. Now, among the degree recipients, 48 toppers of various undergraduate and postgraduate programs will be awarded the gold medals. The convocation will take place in a blended mode, observing the COVID-19 protocol, whereby only the PhD scholars and the gold medalists will receive their degrees and gold medals in person, and the rest of the recipients will be awarded degrees and diplomas virtually. Now, the Governor of Assam, Professor Jagdish Mukhi, Union Education Minister Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank and Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal will be present on the occasion. And before the convocation, the Prime Minister has tweeted, I quote, "I look forward to addressing the convocation of Tezpur University. This is a wonderful opportunity to interact with the bright youngsters from Assam and the Northeast," unquote. And let's now go across to our correspondent Arun Sharma, who is joining us with more updates on that. Arun, like Prime Minister has tweeted, an opportunity to interacting with the students there, and also in fact conferring of degrees and diplomas to the students of Tezpur University today, that takes place at 10:30 this morning.
That's right, Nancy. And this is the second educational virtual event in Assam that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to participate in. Now, earlier during the COVID pandemic time, we know this fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with the students of IIT Guwahati. And today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is participating in the convocation ceremony of Tezpur University. During the COVID pandemic time, we have seen that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has interacted, participated in the programs of various educational institutions in our country, be it Lucknow University, Karnataka University, Mysuru University, and various big premier institutions of our country. So the idea behind this interaction is that how can these young minds, the bright minds of our country, that are the future of our country primarily, that can be motivated and inspired for. And in various institutions, if you look at this one fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tries to inspired on one particular theme as far as his inspiration or motivation is concerned. We have seen that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has interacted with various students of various education institutions, whereby he has talked about local for vocal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has talked about innovations in our country as to how can youngsters contribute as far as innovation drive of our country is concerned. So how can all these initiatives can be kept in front of the students of our country? We know this fact that the young minds, the innovators, have played an important role even during the fight against COVID-19 is concerned. Right. And specifically interacting with the students of the Northeastern region is of prime importance. We know this fact that how the development of Northeast region is on a prime focus of the government, and we have seen that how in past also cabinet ministers have visited in every 15 days in Northeastern region. Various highway projects, various development projects have also been launched as far as Northeastern states are concerned. So when Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts today with the students of Tezpur University, his idea will be as to how can India be made Atmanirbhar, India be made innovator hub or innovation hub of the world, and that's where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is likely to address these young minds of Northeastern state as well. Nancy.
Okay.
All right, Arun, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent Arun Sharma, spelling out more details on the Prime Minister's program, wherein he will be addressing the 18th convocation of Tezpur University in Assam. We'll keep you updated. Let's get to other news now. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme completes 6 years today. The scheme was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 22nd January 2015 at Panipat, Haryana. The scheme addresses the declining child sex ratio and related issues of women empowerment over a life cycle continuum. Also, the scheme tries to ensure education of the girl child and her participation in the society. It is a tri-ministerial effort of the Ministries of Women and Child Development, Health and Family Welfare and Human Resource Development. The key elements of the scheme include enforcement of PC and PNDT Act, nationwide awareness and advocacy campaign, and multi-sectoral action in select 100 districts in the first phase. There is strong emphasis on mindset change through training, sensitization, awareness, raising and community mobilization on ground. Sukanya Smriti Yojana, a small deposit scheme for girl child, also completes 6 years today.
Moving on, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh held a telephonic conversation with the Minister of Defence of Republic of Indonesia, General Prabowo Subianto, on Thursday. Both the ministers expressed satisfaction at the ongoing defence cooperation between the two countries in spite of the limitations imposed by COVID-19. The two ministers exchanged views on security situation in the region and the need for a free and open maritime order based on the rule of law. The leaders also expressed satisfaction at further promoting the defence ties between the two countries. Now, during the telephonic conversation, the ministers reviewed the progress on various bilateral defence cooperation initiatives and expressed commitment to further elevating the engagements between the armed forces under the framework of the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. The ministers also agreed that both countries need to enhance cooperation in defence industry and technology domain and look forward to even greater synergy in this field.
India has expressed concern over death of 3 fishermen during the collision with Sri Lankan boats. The Ministry of External Affairs expressed its shock at the unfortunate loss of lives of 3 Indian fishermen and 1 Sri Lankan national following a collision between their vessel and a Sri Lankan naval craft. The MEA staged strong protest with regard to this incident, conveyed by Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Foreign Minister. Now, in this regard, a strong démarche was also made to the Sri Lankan Acting High Commissioner in New Delhi. MEA expressed deep anguish at the loss of lives and emphasized the need to deal with issues pertaining to fishermen in a humanitarian manner. The MEA also states that existing understandings between the two governments in that regard must be strictly observed and utmost effort should be made to ensure that there is no recurrence.
Now, Union Minister of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying Rajnath Singh visited the Muttukadu experimental facilities of the Central Institute of Brackish Water Aquaculture in Chennai yesterday. He interacted with the fishermen facilities to link the local marine fishers as partners in sustainable livelihood and tourism. He handed over the hatchery-produced fish seeds to farmers on the occasion. And later, the minister honored the winner of the Best Fisheries Self-Help Group 2020 Award, Tamil Nadu, and the winner of the Best Fisheries Enterprise Award 2020, given by the National Fisheries Development Board for the successful ventures. Now, talking about the model fishing villages, the minister said that Prime Minister Modi is committed to the welfare of fishermen.
Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi committed for fishermen. We have started a model village of fishermen. So big program of our village, modern village program.
At least 10 people are feared dead in a dynamite blast at a stone mining quarry in Karnataka's Shivamogga district. The accident took place at a railway crusher site in Shivamogga district's Abalagere Taluk. The 10 feared dead were all labourers and were said to be residents of Bihar. According to the reports, the incident took place when a blast rocked a lorry carrying gelatin sticks and other explosives. Several top officials have reached the spot and are monitoring the rescue operation. According to an eyewitness's account, the accident occurred in high intensity. And to get us more on that, Aisha is joining us from Karnataka. Aisha, at least 10 people are feared dead in a dynamite blast at a stone mining quarry in Karnataka's Shivamogga district. Spell out more details.
Well, Preeti, it was a very gruesome and very ghastly explosion that occurred last night at Shivamogga at a stone crushing site. And it is said that over 15 to 16 gelatin sticks were stored in a lorry, and they were being brought to this stone crusher where the blasting happens at night, late night. And the intensity of this blast could be gauged by the fact that people in the neighboring districts felt tremors. It was so severe that people felt tremors and they thought it was an earthquake. And also the fact that the lorry which was carrying this gelatin stick is crushed to pieces, and that is what the intensity of the blast was, and that has resulted in the death of more than 10 people. At the moment, the district officials say that 6 bodies are being identified. They can see the 6 bodies lying scattered there near the site, but the site has been cordoned off because the rescue could not take place before the bomb disposal squad could reach there. The bomb disposal squad from Bangalore is reaching in some time to Shivamogga at the blast site, and they will scan the area, and the police has taken precaution to see that there are no more explosives stored in this quarry. So that is the reason that the rescue operation has been delayed for some time. Okay. The police feared that more blasts could occur. And also, it is reported that the owner of the stone crusher, Sudhakar, has been detained by police late night, and he is being questioned. And also the fact that the villagers around this quarry say that this stone crushing has been going on illegally, and they were violating the forest department's rules. And therefore, Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has ordered a high-level inquiry, and the Chief Minister is rushing to Shivamogga. This is Shivamogga is Chief Minister's constituency, and he will go to the spot and inspect and take stock of the situation and provide rescue to the people trapped in this blast site.
Asha, has the reason for the blast been ascertained? And also, are there more labourers, more workers feared trapped inside the stone crushing site?
As I said, Preeti, there is no clear information about the fact if there are more people trapped in the quarry site, because the rescue operation has been delayed since the bomb disposal squad has not reached the place. The district administration is taking precaution to see to that there are to the fact that even if there is rescue operation, if there are any explosive stored in this quarry, if they explode, then there could be more loss of life. Therefore, till the bomb disposal squad reaches, we will not know the clear picture of how many people are trapped inside and how many more people have been injured. So the bomb disposal squad will reach very soon Shivamogga, this Hunnasud blast site, and then it will give a clear picture as to how many people have been trapped inside this quarry.
All right, Aisha, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs.
And moving on now, let's go down memory lane and visit the Kranti Mandir, that's a set of 4 barrack museums in Delhi's Red Fort complex on the eve of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's birth anniversary tomorrow, that's 23rd of January.
All 4 barrack museums inside Delhi's Red Fort complex are now part of the Kranti Mandir, comprising the Subhash Chandra Bose Museum, the Yad-e-Jallian Museum, the Museum on 1857, India's first war of independence, and Drishya Kala Museum on Indian art. Kranti Mandir is a treasure trove of Indian history. One such museum in the Kranti Mandir gives a detailed account of Subhash Chandra Bose and the history of Indian National Army through scenes, photos and stories. Marking 75 years of the establishment of the Azad Hind government, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, for the first time on 21st October 2018, hoisted the tricolour at the Red Fort. PM first announced building a museum chronicling the entire life of Netaji, and later inaugurated 4 museums connected with India's rich history and culture, including Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Museum. In this very building, brave sons of India, Colonel Prem Sehgal, Colonel Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon, and Major General Shahnawaz Khan were put on trial by the colonial rulers. Photographs depicting a detailed account of Subhash Chandra Bose and the history of Indian National Army are on display. Some of the artifacts associated with Netaji and Aine, such as wooden chair and sword used by Netaji, medals, badges and uniforms of Aine can also be seen. Kranti Mandir is one such place where we can relive our history. Rishi Kumar's report for DD India.
Alright, now changing track, let's get to updates from the world of entertainment. Day 6 of the 51st International Film Festival of India in Goa saw the screening of a Spanish film, a film by Satyajit Ray, and 2 Goan films made by young upcoming directors. Here's a brief roundup of the action from IFFI on Day 6.
The best and distinguished films from across the world are being showcased at 51st International Film Festival of India in Goa. Most talked about films are being showcased, which include 21 non-feature films and 26 feature films under the Indian Panorama film segment. Slated for Thursday was the screening of Satyajit Ray directed Ghare Baire. Also renowned Bollywood lyricist Rahat Indori is being remembered through Mission Kashmir. 2 Bangladeshi films, Hasina, A Daughter's Tale, a historical docudrama, and Jalal's Story were also showcased. Bangladesh is the focus country this time at the festival. Day 6 also saw the screening of 2 Goan films made by young upcoming directors Suyash Kamath and Manguresh Bandodkar. The day also saw the opening of 2 more prominent films, Radha directed by Bimal Podar and Avijatrik directed by Subhajit Mitra. Avijatrik is the sequel to the Satyajit Ray's Apu trilogy.
I'd like to express my appreciation for the entire team of IFFI for putting together such a great event in spite of this pandemic situation. I'd like to thank the entire jury for selecting our films in this international event.
Because of the COVID restrictions and safeguards, the festival is being organized in a hybrid format, making it convenient for movie buffs to watch the films online as well. With inputs from Rukma Datta in Goa, DD India.
And let's now go across to our correspondent Rukma Datta, who is joining us from Goa this morning. Rukma, good morning. So today, at the 51st edition of IFFI, it's yet another promises to be an action-packed day with many film screenings there.
Right. Good morning to you, Nancy, and to you, Preeti, as well. It's a beautiful morning here at Goa, and I'm standing here right in front of the Kala Academy, which is one of the venues from which to be screened. The jury members, one jury member who is here in person will also be coming in a short while from now as he looks through the screening of various films to decide who will win the award this year, the Golden Peacock. Also, when we talk about activities, and it's an action-packed day, as you just mentioned, Nancy, in a short while from now at 9 a.m. we'll begin the screening of films. The first film to be screened will be a Bangladeshi one, In Spring Breeze it's called, and it's by Bangladeshi director Taqir Ahmed, and the Bengali name is Fagun Hawai. Also, other important films that are going to be premiered today is a Brazilian film, The First Death of Joanna. And the world premiere of the film will be held right here today in the afternoon, and cast the lead actor, who is just a 15-year-old girl, are here in order to attend the world premiere function, the felicitation, the inauguration ceremony. Interestingly, as the days are going by, more directors, more and more filmmakers, as well as actors and actresses are choosing to make the trip to Goa to attend the proceedings online. Also, tributes were paid in the past few days to many yesteryear stars, Kumkum among them, the actress of 100 films who in her heyday was extremely popular, and well, her passing away last year was mourned, tribute was paid to her. Family members of those who have passed away, Rahat Indori among them, are also to be here in person to as you know, the festival is being held in a hybrid format, but clearly it has made its point that India and India's love for cinema, nothing can defeat that if we're living up to its legacy of showcasing the best in the world. Also, as far as the OTT platforms are concerned, online masterclasses, in conversation sessions will continue today. The in conversation sessions will be, one will be held by Rubaiyat Hussain of Bangladesh, the other by Siddharth Roy Kapoor, and Siddharth Roy Kapoor will be moderating the session on cinema in India, opportunities and challenges, while there will be a masterclass by FTI Professor Pankaj Saxena, who's also a filmmaker. Then there will be the screening of the film Lanka the Hand by various other movies as well.
Okay. All right, so India's love for movies and for Bollywood will not die down. On that note, we'll end this conversation here. Thank you so much, Rukma, for joining us with those inputs. We'll come back to you again during the day to get more on how IFFI is progressing. Thank you for joining in.
And with that, let's move on now to our next segment and get you news from around the globe in our segment Across the Globe. Now, in all the international updates, US President Joe Biden has proposed a 5-year extension to the New START arms control treaty with Russia in one of the first major foreign policy decisions of the new administration ahead of the treaty's expiration in early February. Russia has said for some time that it would welcome an extension of the New START treaty, which would limit the number of US and Russian strategic nuclear weapons. The Trump administration made a late bid to extend the treaty, but its conditions were rejected by Russia. Biden proposed the extension, asking the intelligence community to look closely into Russia's cyber attacks, its alleged interference in the 2020 elections, and other actions.
The United States intends to seek a 5-year extension of New START as the treaty permits. The President has long been clear that the New START treaty is in the national security interests of the United States, and this extension makes even more sense when the relationship with Russia is adversarial, as it is at this time. New START is the only remaining treaty constraining Russian nuclear forces and is an anchor of strategic stability between our two countries.
And in the second news briefing after Biden administration took over on Wednesday, White House press secretary said that President Biden, who has visited India many times, respects and values the long, bipartisan, successful relationship between leaders in India and the United States. She also said that President Biden looks forward to continuation of that. Her response comes after a reporter asked her about India-US relationship and what is President Biden's vision of India-US relationship. She continued her response by saying that President Biden selected Kamala Harris as the first Indian American to serve as Vice President, which is certainly a historic moment for all of us in the country, but further cementing of the importance of India-US relationship.
President Biden, who of course has visited India many times, respects and values the long bipartisan, successful relationship between leaders in India and the United States. He looks forward to a continuation of that. Obviously, he selected and yesterday she was sworn in, the first Indian American to serve as president or vice president. Certainly a historic moment for all of us in this country, but a further, cementing of the importance of our relationship.
Now, the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi said on Thursday that she will be consulting the fellow Democrats over Senate's readiness to begin former President Donald Trump's impeachment trial. Pelosi has said that she would consult with her fellow Democrats in the two chambers of the Congress, both of which now they control. However, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is proposing that the Senate give former President Trump's legal team 2 weeks to prepare for the upcoming impeachment trial once the Senate receives the article and delay its start until mid-February. The single article charges Trump with inciting the 6th January attack on the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to prevent the Congress from formally certifying President Joe Biden's victory. The unprecedented attack on the seat of the Congress left 5 dead, leading the House to impeach Trump a second time. Trump was impeached for a speech in which he urged thousands of his followers to fight Joe Biden's then president-elect victory.
Up next, a quick global update on the COVID-19 situation. As of now, more than 9 crore 80 lakh COVID-19 cases have been reported worldwide. The global death toll due to COVID-19 stands at over 20 lakh 97,000. Over 7 crore 4 lakh people have recovered from the virus, and the United States continues to remain the worst hit country by the pandemic so far and has reported over 2 crore 51 lakh cases of the virus, with death toll surging past 4 lakh 19,000. Brazil follows US in terms of death toll with 2 lakh 14,000 deaths.
Now, many more pharmacies have joined Britain's COVID-19 vaccination rollout, maximizing capacity by commandeering strange and unfamiliar venues. Now, Britain has now delivered over 5 million doses of the 2 approved vaccines, with 4.97 million people having received at least one of the 2 required doses. The government aims to inoculate all the high-risk individuals by mid-February to allow the 4 UK nations to ease their lockdown restrictions. The data released on Thursday showed medics have delivered about 3,63,000 vaccines in the last 24 hours, with Britain's rollout gathering pace far quicker than many other European nations. Now, Britain has been hard hit by the latest wave of pandemic, with the daily fatalities routinely over 1,000. However, a new lockdown has pushed the case numbers down, and with the vaccine rollout starting well, there is hope that the UK can begin on its route to normality sooner rather than later. Now, Britain stands 5th in the world COVID-19 tally with over 35,43,000 cases of the virus, with a death toll surging past 94,000.
People in Paris on Thursday were not in the mood for stricter measures to contain the spread of the virus, despite a rise in cases in France. The French Health Ministry on Thursday reported over 22,848 new confirmed COVID-19 cases over the past 24 hours, up from 23,608 on Tuesday. Last Thursday, the government tightened a daily curfew, with restaurants closed apart from limited takeaway services since the end of October, and will probably not reopen as planned on 1st February. France will probably need a third national lockdown if the current 6 p.m. curfew fails to rein in infections. 4 weeks after Christmas, the number of people in the hospitals with the virus increased by 119 to over 25,686. The 7-day moving average of new hospital admissions rose to 131, its highest level since November 18. At the start of the second lockdown, that average stood over 1,000 for 9 days.
And let's now move on to our next segment, get you all the news from around the World Wide Web in Web Review.
All right, on your screens, very quickly, we'll have the slides wherein we'll get you the web review. When we talk of the first slide, up your screens, it's coming in from the Hindustan Times. It says COVID-19 vaccinations cross 1 million. The drive picks up pace in Delhi. The cumulative number of vaccines, while still a little over 57% of the target, is an improvement over what was seen on Wednesday when it was 55%. Spelling out the details, the paper also talks of how more than 1 million health workers have now been vaccinated, with over 230,000 getting doses on Thursday alone. This has been put forth by the government data, and also it says that the cumulative number of vaccinations, while still was a little over 57% of the target, it was it saw improvement of 2% when it was 55% on Wednesday. The officials credited the improvement to the changes in COVID application that now allows vaccinators to administer shots to walk-in healthcare workers if those scheduled did not turn up.
All right, moving on now to news from the markets. Well, this is from the Pioneer that we have picked up. In a first, Sensex soars to 50,000 but closes lower on the profit booking. The BSE Sensex, they're scaling the 50,000 mark for the first time on Thursday on growth optimism and global cues, but succumbed to profit booking in FAG and trade to finish in the red, and that was weighed by selling in the banking, finance and IT counters. The 30-share BSE index ended 167.36 points or 0.34% lower at 49,624. While similarly, the broader NSE Nifty stayed 54.35 points or 0.37% to close at 40,590. The ONGC was the top loser in the Sensex pack, shedding 4%, followed by Bharti Airtel, SBI, IndusInd Bank, NTPC, Sun Pharma and the ITC. And the market heavyweight RIL spurted 2.09% after stock exchanges cleared future retail's 24,713 crore deal to sell its retail assets to the Mukesh Ambani-led conglomerate with certain riders. And there's one more column that we've picked up from the Indian Express, and this talks about how the triumph in Gaba is a win to cherish. Indian cricket needs to build on it. Well, this is in fact a column that's being carried as far as India's win is concerned, and talks about how when Indian cricket history is discussed, it will be said of them that they look all the body blows but did not let the country down. While the 11 in the first test at Adelaide, Australia were vastly different from the 11 who handcrafted history on Tuesday at the Gabba. They faced body blows, tolerated sledging and endured slurs there from the spectators' gallery, but not for a moment did they allow their single-minded dedication to slacken. So really very the moment of pride really for the team, and this is in fact also going on to say that this will in fact be rewritten on this match. Gigabytes expended in electronic media, but all that will never be able to portray what may have been passing through the mind of Mohammad Siraj, unfortunately, who wept at his dad's memory while singing the national anthem, or the youngest member there of the team, who was the proud holder of the Border Gavaskar trophy that his captain handed to him for all the important photo opportunities there. But very importantly, the point that the column here is making, that we need to marvel the remarkable commitment and the dedication there of the team, and not really slacken any further at all there. We need to recognize that champions are not made in a day, but in the making of such champions, the sweat, the hard work, the mentoring, the dedication, and most importantly, the mental conditioning has such a critical role to perform. But that it's a wrap on the web review for now. Let's move on now to our next segment, and that's the sports track. Get you all the news from the world of sports.
Yes. After winning the Border Gavaskar Trophy, Indian pacer T. Natarajan, who won the hearts of cricket lovers with his performance in Australia, was given a grand welcome upon reaching his village Chinnapampatti in Tamil Nadu. His fans gathered in large numbers and took out the procession of the rising star. Natarajan made his test debut during the fourth match against Australia at Gaba and took 3 wickets in the first innings with great line and length.
And another debutant pacer, Mohammad Siraj, who took 5 wickets in the last test, said it was his dream to represent India in Australia. He said he wishes to repeat the same performance for the country.
मैं ये सोचा नहीं था कि मैं इतना अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस करूंगा और इंडिया के लिए खेलूं, बट मेरा ये ड्रीम था कि मैं इंडिया के लिए अच्छा करूं और इंडिया के लिए मैच जीतूं। मेरा तो करियर है, मैं सोचता हूं कि अभी मेरा करियर स्टार्ट हुआ, मैं यहां पर रिलैक्स होना नहीं चाहता हूं, मैं ये परफॉर्मेंस को और अच्छे उसमें कन्वर्ट करना चाहता हूं।
Let's change track from cricket now. Liverpool's 68-game unbeaten home run in the Premier League came to an end as Ashley Barnes fired in a late winner from the penalty spot to secure a famous victory for Burnley. The Reds saw their incredible record come crashing down with an unexpected 1-0 defeat to Burnley. Barnes was stripped in the box by goalkeeper Alisson with 7 minutes remaining and converted the spot kick as Burnley won at Anfield for the first time since 1974.
And with that, let's move on now to our next segment and take a look at the significance of this day in history.
It was on this day in 1849 that the self-appointed Diwan of Multan, Mulraj, surrendered and the siege of Multan ended. Though the Sikhs put up a good fight, they were no match for the East India Company's armies and their heavy guns. It was on this day in 1901 that Queen Victoria passed away in Osborne House on the Isle of Wight. She was the monarch of Great Britain and Ireland and Empress of India, and died after presiding over her vast empire for nearly 64 years, the longest reign in British history. It was on this day in 1905 that the Russian troops opened fire on marching workers in St. Petersburg, killing more than 500 in what became known as Bloody Sunday. It was on this day in 1934 that the renowned filmmaker Vijay Anand was born in Gurdaspur, Punjab. Vijay Anand is known for acclaimed movies such as Guide and Johnny Mera Naam. He made most of his films for the in-house banner Navketan Films and was part of the Anand family.
And after that, we now get you the weather report. A fresh western disturbance has a trough in mid-tropospheric westerlies runs roughly along the influence, and because of this, scattered to fairly widespread rain and snow is likely over Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan and Muzaffarabad, and Himachal Pradesh, and isolated rain and snow over Uttarakhand during the period of 22nd to 24th of January. Also, very light rain and thunder showers are likely at isolated places over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi. Heavy rain and snow is likely over Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan and Muzaffarabad. Isolated thunderstorm and lightning and hail is likely over Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan and Muzaffarabad and Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand as well. Also, dense to very dense fog in isolated pockets is likely over Assam and Meghalaya and Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura from 23rd till 26th of January, and over sub-Himalayan West Bengal during the morning hours of 23rd January. And now we take a look at temperatures across major cities of the country. All right, with that, we come to the end of this edition of Breakfast Show this morning. We'll be back again with a fresh edition on Monday. And before we leave you with good wishes for a nice and a happy weekend ahead. And also, before we leave, we get to this reminder every day we get for you to be part of the Mask Up India initiative, which we're running on DD News and DD India. Remember, it's just a simple task: wear a mask, but wear it correctly and properly.
Absolutely. And before we go, we're leaving you with the visuals of the 71st Republic Day, which is to arrive soon. The marching contingents and the military bands, they're preparing for the occasion. So before we end the show, we're leaving you with the glimpses of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police marching contingents practicing at Rajpath for their majestic parade this year. Take a look at those visuals, and we wish you a great day ahead. Take good care of yourself, stay safe and stay healthy. Thanks for being with us.